Good morning. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session.
Recording in progress.
To mark the International Democracy Day, commemorated and celebrated annually on 15 September, Bersih 2.0, together with Perludem, organized Zoom webinar with live streaming on YouTube Perludem on political party finance reform agenda in Malaysia. Today is the 1st October 2021. Friday, where we have about 2 hours and a half session from 10 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. Malaysian time and 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Jakarta time. On behalf of the Coalition for Clean and Fair Election Bersih 2.0 and the Association for Election and Democracy Perludem, I am pleased to welcome all and everyone to this conference on political party finance reform. The program today will featuring the following speakers. We will have Tun Musa Hitam, who will deliver the keynote address. Thank you, Tun, for being with us. And then we have panelists, Mr. Ooi Kok Hin, researcher with Bersih, who will present his research paper, Political Party Financing in Malaysia, Time to Implement Public Funding for Political Parties. Then we have two panelists, Ms. Aira Ariani Azhari from Institute for Democracy and Economic Affairs Ideas, and Dr. Michael Jeyakumar Devaraj from Socialist Party of Malaysia, who will provide talks and comments on research paper on political financing reform agenda in Malaysia through questions and answers. Ms. Heroik is Executive Director of Perludem Indonesia, will give the opening address, and Mr. Thomas Fan, the chairperson of Bersih 2.0, will give the closing session. This conference is open to public with political party representatives, civil society organizations, scholars, academic universities, and media were all being invited. Ladies and gentlemen, the International Day of Democracy is celebrated around the world on 15 September, provides an opportunity to review the state of democracy in this part of the world. Democracy is still much a process as a goal, and political financing is one of the important aspects of democracy, which needs much reform, without which money, politics, corruption, injustice, inequality will dominate the society, leading to suffering of people and destruction of nation. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Ms. Heroik, Executive Director of Perludem, to have an opening address to start our session. Please, Ms. Nina.
Thank you, Professor Dato, Dr. Abdul, Halim, Yusof. Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining us in this virtual conference of Political Party Finance Reform Agenda in Southeast Asia. And today's conference is about Political Party Finance Reform Agenda in Malaysia. This conference is part of International Democracy Day commemoration that we celebrate every year at September 15. This is a series of international conference on political party finance reform agenda in Southeast Asia that's supported by USAID under the RESPECT program, or Asia Pacific Regional Support for Elections and Political Transitions program. This is the fourth session on international conference. The first is held on September 13 by our partner, the International IDEA. And the second is about the political party finance reform in the Philippines. And the third is about political party finance reform in Indonesia. So if you guys miss these last three conferences, you can check on Perludem's YouTube channel. And next week will be the last conference that will be held by our partner in Timor-Leste. So ladies and gentlemen, if we talk about political party finance in Southeast Asia, there is some challenges, for example, lack of comprehensive regulations, not only for the limitation for donation or spending, but also about the reporting and audit process of political finance. This is why we are doing this research to see what's the real challenges and what is the recommendation for these challenges. We already finished our research about this political party finance reform, and this research can be downloaded in our website. And I will also send the link on the chat box. To disseminate this research, as well as to discuss the agenda of political party finance reform in Southeast Asia, We held a series of international conference and also collaboration with the International IDEA, Lente from the Philippines, Bersih 2.0 from Malaysia, and Pradet and Caucus, Women Caucus from Timor-Leste. And last, I would like to send my gratitude to all writers, keynote speakers and speakers in this conference, Tun Musa Hitam, Ooi Kok Hin, Aira Ariani Azhari, Dr. Michael Jeyakumar Devaraj, and of course to our moderator, Professor Dato, Dr. Abdul Halim Yusof. Thank you so much for making time for this conference and have great discussion. Back to you, Professor.
Thank you very much for your opening address, and we hope this session will give a lot of inputs and the points that should be agenda for future works. Okay, now we go to our main program, which is going to be the keynote address from Tun Musa Hitam. Everybody knows Tun Musa Hitam. Welcome, Tun Musa. For Tun for coming here, who is currently a chairman of International Advisory Panel, World Islamic Economic Forum, WIEF Foundation, was a Malaysia deputy prime minister from 1981 to 1986. He held various portfolio as a minister during the time and engaged in various international platforms. He also presented Malaysia, United Nations, UNESCO, Microsoft, related to negotiation and regular conference. He is also elected for one term chairman of UN Commission of Human Rights. Welcome, Tun, with us, and your keynote address on this conference of political party finance for the agenda in Malaysia. Please, Tun.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for welcoming me, and may I also take the opportunity to thank you, you meaning everybody who's responsible for this particular conference. Maybe it would be a good idea if I started by talking about my own experiences in political funding. I actually started politics as political secretary to the then Minister of Transport of Malaysia, Dato Sadon Jubir. Those early days, 1964, long ago, money as we know it was never been an issue. The spirit of sacrifice and enthusiasm were there, based on the spirit of gotong royong, or self-help. We were then fighting colonialism. And after that, we were proud of independence or merdeka. Going fast forward, the promotion of the new economic policy and its apparent success made Malays in Malaysia, this apparent success made Malays enter the world in the modern sense. That is, accompanied by a realization of money as political ladder to climb to achieve power in government. It was against such a background scenario in Malaysia that I began my political career. My real experiences in political funding started when I was elected Member of Parliament for Segamat Utara in the state of Johor. But by the time I was firmly installed as MP, I realized soon enough that money was much in need. So much was required. Donations here, events here, and events there. The Member of Parliament was, without question, the presumptive provider of funds. Realizing this serious situation as Member of Parliament, I well remember one of my earliest speeches. I explained my position thus. Firstly, I come from a humble family and that I was not rich. Secondly, that my MP annual allocations would be for predetermined events, such as for national celebrations, plus or 2 constituency local events. In addition, which is supposed to be a special offer, was that I volunteered to allocate 50 ringgit per month for needy primary school children to assist them to buy shoes and uniforms, which made it to be 600 ringgit for a year. I never stopped reminding my constituents that if my explanation was not acceptable, then it would mean I had to get funds from other sources, even illegal under-the-counter contributions to fulfill their demands. For administration of the party at divisional level, the state-level political party administration allocated funds even though it was never enough. Constituency level administration expenses were contributed also by the state UMNO headquarters. More so, when elections are held, it was again the state that takes over election expenses. You are having a treat given by me, an UMNO member on UMNO, maybe as you never heard before. Let me say also that in the process, the question of trust on the branch officials, on its MPs, on the state level officials, plus the party national headquarters played an important role here. I must admit that UMNO and the Barisan Nasional kept winning and maintaining power. Money was then never been a problem. But then, as is said often enough, power corrupts, and more power corrupts completely. Inevitably, implosion happens, causing damages beyond repair. My friends, your studies on political funding in Indonesia, Thailand, the Philippines, and East Timor are impressive. So can we say about Malaysia. But as much as I'm impressed, lots need to be pointed out. To begin with, I agree that you all face various difficult challenges. Apparently, there exists strong and enthusiastic political will. This, I submit, is not new. However, I think the situation now in Malaysia is akin to the recent hoo-ha on declaration of assets, by MPs, ministers at both state and national levels. Let me elaborate. It was determined that asset declaration by MPs were one way to avoid corruption. Good enough, true enough. For a fleeting moment in Malaysia, the whole country got excited and we all applauded. But then I asked, why are all now quiet? As though all are done with full satisfaction. I really don't think so. What the system lacks is a good auditing system and enforcement. Even if these do exist, the system does not seem to work, which means that this particular issue has not been enforced successfully at all as of now. Which brings me to the question of reform or reset or whatever it's called. The interconnectivity between asset declaration, political party financing, conduct of elections, faulty bureaucracy, and governance across the board, and corruption must be taken into account when trying reform. As far as I can see, considering issues on funding, I fully agree with the challenges as listed. That is, briefly, legislative shortcomings, weak oversight, lack of political will, weak bookkeeping practices, and more holistic and comprehensive approach. There you are. It is interconnectivity. And another important fact is enforcement. To me, as of now, currently, if I may say so, the only single problem to tackle all related issues would have to be in a way with one go. All of us, each, have been going into the same issues. Sure, each has its explanation on its own angle in approaching the various subjects related. But if, a big if, but if all of us could get organized to group ourselves in a non-partisan way with focus and full dedication, it can be done. Issues faced by our country in governance are well known. But work and efforts have been duplicated and multiplicated so many times by so many well-meaning quarters. In such times as we are going through right now in Malaysia, as I see it, like on leadership uncertainties, general elections coming, realignments of political groupings taking place, there is no better time than this as the right time for all non-partisans to get together to contribute towards real national service. With the current mood for change, including that both the government and the opposition are talking in a friendly way to each other in Malaysia, I would like to propose the following. One, a truly representative group, sans partisan politicians, sans meaning without, should be formed. Two, careful study should be done on membership numbers and representativity to make up the group as well as based on overall need in all national issues. Three, term of length of life of the group should not be more than 2 years. Four, activities, rights, responsibilities, and duties should cover the whole span during the 2 years, but freed of interference by government and or partisan politicians. Five, all matters relating to the group as per points 1, 2, 3, and 4 would be with the consent and approval of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. And lastly, very important point, a special act of parliament need to be tabled and passed. My friends, the whole idea is based on Malaysia's own experiences after our own tragic May 13th incidents. But this idea of mine is not to form a Mageran. Mageran actually means the National Operations Council, then formed after May 13th. Not, I repeat, not to form a Mageran type of government. Neither it is to give powers as if in any national emergency. Additionally, may I explain, the idea of the lifespan of 2 years is in order to give ample time for the multiple faceted issues of the country that need to be covered and dealt with as best as can be. Maybe all said and done, at the end of the 2-year period, results of all the collective work could be presented to Malaysians at large. If found overall across the board to be acceptable, Malaysia would certainly have by then reset or reform herself. I know it's a big deal, a big challenge. After so many years, after May 13th, some people, many actually, some of these people call Malaysia a racist state. Some call us not a democratic state. Some others call it a fast failing state. But the fact of the matter has been that Malaysia managed peace and not war all these past years. Now, ladies and gentlemen, lastly, I might remind you that after May 13th, and around 2 years after the NCC, or National Consultative Council, the government at that time promised Malaysians that we would be returned to civilian rule after the emergency. Tun Razak actually kept his promise.